The Elder Scrolls 6 location possibilities are pretty vast, or at least they are on first inspection of the teaser trailer that Todd Howard pulled out at the end of the Bethesda showcase. You know the one I mean, this one here that totally wasn't released as a sneaky way to distract people from the fact that Fallout 76 is going to be an online game only. Honest. Anyway, there are a few clues hidden in this teaser trailer that means it might be possible to narrow down a potential setting for the game, or at the very least, count some locations out. Do bear in mind though that really this is just a bit of fun, and with that in mind, we'd love it if you could put your own theories or suggestions in the comments below.
Thank you. Thanks.
First up, you'll notice in the trailer that, to the right of the shot, there is a large body of water. Now, going from this map of Tamriel, we can see that many of the lands featured are bordered by bodies of water. If we exclude Morrowind, Cyrodiil, Skyrim and the Somerset Isles, all locations we visited very recently, then there are still a number of coastal locations that might fit the bill, including the first name on our list, Black Marsh. Black Marsh, aka Argonia, is the ancestral home of the lizard-like Argonians, whose reptilian bodies are well suited for a location that's described as a fetid swampland. Now instantly, that description and gameplay footage from the Elder Scrolls Online casts doubts about this as a location for the Elder Scrolls 6. While there does look like there's a little bit of swampy lowland set around this distant city in the trailer, the low and flat nature of swamps in general doesn't sit well with the huge ranging peaks of the mountains that make up the rest of the landmass. The fact that Argonians are gonna feature in the Elder Scrolls 6 is a pretty safe assumption to make, but as for the homeland of Argonia, I'd bet money that that one aren't going to. As the camera swoops across this mysterious land, it reveals several things. We get an idea of the landscape, which is mostly dry, rocky and mountainous, with thinning shrubbery throughout most of it. Because of this, we can almost instantly count out Velenwood as a potential location. Velenwood, you see, is known as Tamriel's Garden, an endless sea of green with a maze of foliage that's home to the Bosmer, a range of wood elves whose cities are located on giant walking trees that roam the forest. While Velenwood does have a huge coastline that borders more than 50% of the region, most of this is dominated by mangrove swamps and subtropical rainforests, and I don't see anything in the teaser trailer that matches that description. And also, I don't see any big fuck-off trees wandering around holding cities, something which I'm pretty sure would be easy to spot. The next location on this list is Elsewhere, homeland of lovable catkin, the Khajiit. Elsewhere is described as a province that mainly consists of harsh badlands and dry plains. However, the south of the region, the only part of Elsewhere to have a coastline, is known to be made up of fertile regions covered in jungle and rainforest. Now, whilst there is a great deal of greenery covering the landmass in the teaser trailer, I think we can all agree that there is nothing in here that looks even remotely like a jungle or a rainforest. Not only that, but the coastline in the trailer seems to be a completely different shape to the southern tip of Elsewhere, which means this is almost definitely not the setting for the next game. Sorry kitten friends, maybe you'll get a starring role in the Elder Scrolls 7, but for now at least it looks like it's back to the skooma pipe for you.
Come and see from the distant shores of Glanumbra, a real life.
Here's a curveball for you. Instead of being set in a single region, how about The Elder Scrolls 6 takes place in all of Tamriel? I mean, for one, we can be just about certain that The Elder Scrolls 6 will release on next-gen consoles only, and that we can reasonably assume would bring another jump in computational power. Basically, who's to say that next-gen consoles won't be powerful enough to feature the whole of Tamriel by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes out? But would Bethesda really want to do that? For one, there's the problem of The Elder Scrolls Online. The MMORPG is still ticking along nicely, having just added Somerset Isle as DLC. And aside from that, the game covers the vast majority of Tamriel already. That means there's a pretty solid argument that a big next-gen Elder Scrolls game in the main series that covers the exact same locations as The Elder Scrolls Online would cannibalise its audience. The other thing to consider is that by covering all of Tamriel in one game, options for a sequel beyond that are then significantly narrowed down. Yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is still years away, but there's no reason to believe that Bethesda would make this one its last, not with the ludicrous amount of money it'll be leaving on the table by doing so. All that said, I can't confidently rule out all of Tamriel at this point. Plenty of games set sequels in the same open world as their prior entry, and they do just fine. I just think that it's a bit of a stretch for The Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe next time.
What was that?
The next location, and the first one that has good potential to be the setting for The Elder Scrolls 6, is High Rock, home of the Bretons. The one thing High Rock absolutely has in its favour is the climate, which matches pretty closely to what we saw in the trailer. It's known for somewhat varied geography. In the north are mountains covered with forests, further south are plains, and along the southeastern coast that faces Hammerfell are several trading hub cities. It's also full of mountains and is called High Rock, and as you can see here, the trailer is quite literally full of high rocks. There are also some recognisable places for the lore nerds out there, like the city of Daggerfall and the Adamantine Tower, rumoured to be the oldest structure in Tamriel. The in-game book, called Provinces of Tamriel, is well referenced when people talk about the continent's various regions, and it describes High Rock as full of rugged highland strongholds, like this crumbling fort here. But it doesn't quite fit with some other aspects of the footage. For one, the sandy architecture doesn't suggest Bretonnian strongholds so much as it does Mediterranean forts. You could safely say the Breton race is modelled on a kind of Celtic or Northern British history, and a cold northern environment inhabited by pasty humans sounds a little too close to Skyrim for an immediate follow-up. The main reason I'm in two minds about High Rock, though, is its size. It's smaller than Cyrodiil, Morrowind and Skyrim, and because of that it seems like an odd choice for what we can assume would be a massive game world. And that leaves us with the most likely location of all, Hammerfell. Speaking broadly, Hammerfell is just a great location to set a big fantasy RPG in. It's a large area that has a range of climates and environments which include not only the dry mountains we saw in the trailer, but also forested regions, snowy mountains, and the vast Alakir Desert. But there's more to this than just a few suitable regions. There are also a couple of visual clues in the trailer which point convincingly towards Hammerfell as a location. For a start, the three small peninsulas poking out of the northern coast here seem to match up pretty well with the pointy coastline shown in the teaser. Not only that, but this huge crater in the ground here has been tied into existing Elder Scrolls lore by a YouTuber known as Camelworks. Camelworks discovered a character named Azra Nightwielder in the 2004 Nokia N-Gage game Elder Scrolls Travel's Shadowkey. Azra was a powerful mage who died in a battle with the Redguard military after losing control of his powers and setting off an incredibly huge explosion. Could these ruins next to the crater be the remains of Azra's Crossing, the town that was built on the side of the crater after the battle? It seems pretty likely to me. Some fans have also pointed out that the reddish gold hue of the Elder Scrolls 6 logo in the teaser might represent Dwemer metal, in the same way that Skyrim's silver logo represents Skyforged steel. The Dwemer, an ancient race, inhabited Hammerfell way before the Redguard, so if this does turn out to be true, expect to be exploring plenty of Dwemer ruins along the way. As another point, this location is also easily expandable. The smaller High Rock sits to the north of Hammerfell and has close trade ties with it, so it could make for a Somerset Isle style expansion, or even be included with it if the game is particularly massive. And finally, Hammerfell is not too far from Skyrim, and as the camera starts its swoop at the beginning of the teaser trailer, it's not hard to imagine these cloudy peaks being the snow-topped mountains on the border of Skyrim. In conclusion to all of that speculation, I totally think that Hammerfell is the safest bet for the location of the Elder Scrolls 6. Above all, it seems to make the most sense. Plus, just say it, the Elder Scrolls 6 Hammerfell. It does have a lovely ring to it. All that said though, there's still plenty of room for Bethesda to spring a surprise. I mean, what if they decide not to set the game in Tamriel at all? The world of Nirn is a pretty big place, to be fair. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, do give it a like, do subscribe to Eurogamer for more Elder Scrolls 6 videos when new information drops, and above all, do have a lovely day. Goodbye.